Welcome to Mind Body Monday. It's lovely to see you all here. And if you are listening and watching the replay, I'll welcome you to the replay as well. And just as we have live sessions, you can get to chat, and I encourage you to chat during the live sessions. If you're watching a replay, go ahead and leave comments because we'll monitor those comments and it will really help to build the community. So thank you, each one of you, for stepping up and taking the next step to better your health and well-being and supporting Mind Body Monday. So we have a very exciting lineup tonight. There's really two topics. The first topic is going to be one of my favorite meditation practices. And that for the time being, I'm going to be sharing with you the beginning of Mind Body Monday meditation practice, because the name Mind Body is already hinting to the fact that we're connected. We're just one system. And it's not mind and body, it's just mind body. And really soul should be thrown in there as well. And that helps to settle the connection and make the connection much more real, and as a result advance our consciousness and healing in the body. The second topic I'm going to be covering with you tonight is really leaky gut syndrome, which is really quite a gray area and an area that in my practice over the last 30 years, I've been working quite extensively with. So I'm going to share with you some of my insights and best practices for really any digestive disturbance. And I'm just curious, how many of you actually have had any digestive problems in the past or are currently struggling with or dealing with a digestive problem? Go ahead, just type in the chat if you've had in the past or currently dealing with some sort of digestive problem. And if you have a diagnosis, go ahead, just type that in. Not because the diagnosis really locks you into something, but it really gives me a clue in terms of who's showing up and how I can support you best. So go ahead. If you've ever had a digestive challenge in the past, just, type me. And if you've had a diagnosis or you have a diagnosis, go ahead and just share that diagnosis in the chat. That way we know what's happening. Yes. Currently, someone's written they have IBS. That's great. You are in the right place. Thank you. Anybody else? Because some of the strategies you're going to be learning tonight will definitely help IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. I'm going to be covering that a little bit as it falls under the rubric of leaky gut syndrome, as I'll clarify what that is. I know myself, especially over the weekend, Shabbos, etc., I tend to eat a drop more than I should be and not move my body as much, and things can get a little bit backed up. So I actually have a protocol how I prevent it. It'd be, Saturday night, Sunday, how I really get back into a great digestive health situation as quickly as possible. So without further ado, if you've got any other distractions around you, obviously if you're watching the replay and you're driving, then don't close your eyes. But if you're here showing up in the live, go ahead and just turn off any other distractions. And we'll spend, 3 to 5 minutes. I'm going to guide you through a short meditation process, building onto the meditation process that I shared with you in the previous session. This is called the harmony breath, and it is one of my favorite breathing techniques. It really calms the mind and the body. It stops panic and stress in its tracks. And very often, if a person's feeling overwhelmed, this is one breathing technique that will really help to settle that down, because it oxygenates the brain and in a soft way forces oxygen into the bloodstream and balances the carbon dioxide and oxygen balance in the blood. It helps to deal with insomnia and sleeplessness. It helps to control hyperventilation, helps to refocus if you've lost your focus, and helps also to heal tight junctions. So wait a little bit, because you're going to learn all about tight junctions in a couple of minutes. So if you're ready, you don't have to close your eyes. I like to close my eyes because it brings my awareness inside. So if you're comfortable doing that, and if you want to peek, that's okay too. So take a nice deep breath in And as you breathe out, just drop your shoulders down. You can allow your eyes to softly close. And then taking a gentle breath in again. And this time as you breathe out, feel your back against the back of the chair. And your feet resting softly on the ground. And then once again, a soft, gentle, comfortable, deep breath in. And this time as you breathe out, soften your face, relax your chest and your stomach, and let your breathing settle down to rhythm and pace that's natural and comfortable for you. And just take a moment to get a subjective sense of how stressed you feel right now between 1 and 5. 5 is high stress, could be pain or tightness in your body or busyness in your mind or just an unsettled, anxious feeling. And 1 is just really still and calm. Without any judgments, just notice where are you on a scale from 1 to 5. There's no right or wrong answer here. It's just a quick check-in. And as I've mentioned, previous Mind Body Mondays is when you get a number and become conscious of that level of relative ease or tension or stress, your body will already begin to work with that. Your unconscious mind will already begin to address the balance. So if you have a number, just softly open your eyes for a minute and just type that in the chat. What is your number between 1 and 5? 5 is higher stress, tension. 1 is more chilled and more relaxed. Just type in the number. Thank you. 2. Someone else has written in 2 as well. Fantastic. Just to get a sense is really helpful. Now you can keep your eyes. Yes, thank you. Someone's written in a 4. Good, good. Take note of that because you'll see how quickly that number will shift. Thank you. Yes, someone else has written a number 3. Yeah, wonderful. This breathing technique is the harmony breath. It's really in 4 stages. So you can keep your eyes just for this open for this explanation part. The first stage is really to breathe out, to empty the lungs. Then the real first stage is to breathe in. You'll breathe in for the count of 4, and I'll do the counting. You will hold your breath for the count of 4, and then you'll breathe out through pursed lips for the count of 4, and then you'll hold your breath again. So it's really like a square. So you'll breathe in for the count of 4, hold your breath for the count of 4, breathe out through pursed lips for the count of 4, and hold your breath. Typically, I do this before going to sleep at night and waking up in the morning. That way I just begin my day with some deeper oxygen breaths, calming my body, helps me to get a deep REM restorative sleep and gets me recharged in the morning. And I do this 4 or 5 times. Today, however, I'm going to guide you through doing it once because we've done this in previous Mind Body Mondays. And if you haven't been with me then, you can check out the replay. And then I'm going to invite you, this is the next step, then I'm going to invite you to imagine a wonderful healing color. Sometimes I think of the rainbow. And you don't really have to think, well, what color shall I use? Because there's no right or wrong number. And the thousands of times I've done this, different hue or different color comes to me, sort of relying on your inner knowing, relying on your unconscious mind, just to surface a healing color that you need at this time. And each color has a specific frequency, a different vibration, and also a different effect in your mind, even if you just imagine it. So the first stage of the breathing in force is just the technical part of the breathing, as I've explained. Then once we've done 1 round, you've got a sense of how to do it. Then I'm going to invite you on the breathing in part. You'll breathe in a wonderful healing color, whatever feels right. Sometimes for me, it's a blue or a pink or an orange or a very subtle hue or just a lovely sunset energy. And then you hold your breath and you just allow that color to infuse your brain and your body. And we'll do that on its own in the background without you having to really manage that. And then as you breathe out through pursed lips, just imagine breathing out any stress or tension, like a dark cloud leaving you. It's pretty simple. If you don't have the instruction fully, just follow me along. We'll do this a bunch of times and you'll practice on your own. Then we'll have another quick check-in, and then we'll carry on with exploring the topic for tonight as well. Okay? So, sitting up in your chairs, taking a nice deep cleansing breath in before we start. Now breathing out completely, empty your lungs. Now I'll count for 4, breathing for the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Drop your shoulders, but hold your breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. Breathing out through pursed lips. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe normally. Very good. That was one round. As I said, typically I do this maybe 4 or 5 times, morning and evening. Now for the next step already. I'm going to have you count for yourself. You're going to breathe in for the count of 4. And as you're doing that, connecting to a healing color that you feel or sense will be helpful for you now. And if you can't imagine a color, just get a sense or knowing or remember a beautiful healing color that's calming and relaxing. And everyone's different. Some people like pinks and mauves and greens. There's no right or wrong color. Just trust in your unconscious. You're going to hold that color in. And then as you breathe out like dark cloud of gray or black or just an unpleasant color, breathing out the darkness. Hold your breath again and breathe in the healing color. We'll do 2 or 3 rounds and I'll do some guidance as we go along. Okay? So, sitting up in your chairs, breathing out. Now connecting to a beautiful healing color. I'm breathing for 4. 1, breathing in that beautiful color. 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath and let that color move intelligently through your brain, through your whole nervous system, calming, relaxing, soothing. And as you breathe out now for the count of 4, just imagine 1 dark cloud of stress or tension leaving your body. 2, 3, 4. Holding your breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now on your own, breathing in for 4. Holding your breath. And breathing out for 4. Holding your breath. And once again, you want to keep your eyes open. I'll count with my hands so you can see. We'll all do this together. Breathing in a beautiful healing color. Hold. And breathing out. Hold. Once more. Breathing in. Hold. And breathing out. And hold. And breathe normally. Softly open your eyes. Coming back to our Zoom session. Just moving around your fingers and toes to orientate yourself back inside your body. I'm just curious. Go ahead and type in the chat what you noticed. Your stress levels shifted from the beginning. How did you get on? What color did you choose? What did you notice? Any thoughts, any observations? Go ahead, type in the chat. What did you notice? Did the number from the beginning change a person who typed in a 4. I'm just curious, did that change in any way? Did you manage with the colors? Excellent. Stress went up as I tried to inhale color. Good. That's a very good observation. So this is new. This is a new skill. So allow it to be more natural as you go along, and softly practice it. You can practice this tonight as well, later today when you go to bed. Yes, someone else said they breathed in a teal blue and it went down to a 2 from a 4. Wonderful. And this is just the first time we've done that. So the more you practice, the more you'll become familiar, and you'll be able to use this at any time of the day when you're waiting in a traffic jam, or you're waiting at a line in the bank, or in a situation that's stressful. You can just breathe in a color, even without the force. So well done, everybody. Well done. Excellent. So, sitting up in your chairs, we're now going to move on to the topic for this evening, for today. Now, I don't know how many of you have heard of leaky gut syndrome. So, leaky gut syndrome is really not really a diagnosis, as you'll understand shortly. And to understand leaky gut syndrome, you need to understand a little bit about how our gut lining works. So our gut lining is made up of a barrier of what's called tight junctions. That's a medical term. Tight junctions control what gets through from the intestines into the bloodstream. The good guys are fully digested food and healthy particles. The bad guys are undigested food particles, bacteria, and things that shouldn't be going through these tight junctions. They escape into the bloodstream and mount an immune response in the body. You see, when these tight junctions get a little bit weak, there is an increase in what's called gut permeability. This is called hyperpermeability. That is too much permeability happening in the gut, also known as leaky gut syndrome. In other words, an analogy could be, just imagine there's airport security or security anywhere, and the guards have been on duty for far too long without getting adequate rest, and they're exhausted, they're weak, and there's a lapse in their ability to guard appropriately. So people are moving through security who really should not be moving through security at all until they've been checked by the security guards. But because there's been a lapse with these security guards because they're exhausted, really people are going through, and that causes potential problems. What I'd like to do with you briefly now is, for about 1.5 minutes, really just over 1.25 minutes, share with you a quick video that will explain very simply what are tight junctions, and that way you'll be able to understand when we take the next step of what could go wrong with these tight junctions if they are weak, and then how, of course, to fix them. So let me share with you a video on how tight junctions work.
Our intestines are lined with barrier cells, called epithelial cells, that transport nutrients from food into our bloodstream. These epithelial cells have tight junctions between them to ensure that no undigested food particles, digestive waste, or toxins escape into our blood and create health complications. Healthy epithelial cells are supported by a balanced microbiome of good and bad bacteria, which is supported by a nutrient-rich intestinal environment. Stress, poor diet, lack of exercise, and use of antibiotics can disrupt our microbiome and intestinal environment. These disruptions can lead to weak epithelial cells and loose epithelial junctions. Without tight junctions, undigested food particles, digestive waste, and toxins can leak out of our intestines and into our bloodstream, causing inflammatory immune responses, various digestive disorders, and changes to the normal function of the digestive tract. This is often called leaky gut.
Okay, so for those of you who have never heard of leaky gut, or for those of you who have heard of leaky gut, now you can understand a little bit more about what it is. The question is, as a result of these tight junctions becoming compromised, a lot can go wrong with the body. And this is why in medicine, it's potentially quite a challenge to treat, because it's not really a diagnosis. It's more of a description of a set of circumstances happening in the body. So once this barrier has been compromised, there are 6 main areas that I see within patients coming to see me that can really go wrong. So the first one is with the digestive system itself, where there could be bloating, gas, cramping, diarrhea, abdominal pain, and even stool in the blood. And this is obviously when the condition has become quite severe. And not all leaky gut is the same. Obviously, the longer it's been going on for, the more compromised the tight junctions, the worse the symptoms can be. So that's the first area, is the digestive system itself. The second area, which comes as a little bit of a surprise, but you only understand the complexity of the gut, will make a lot of sense, is really hormonal imbalances, because the gut plays a crucial role in managing hormones, specifically the body's estrogen level. So when the microbiome gets disrupted and the tight junctions become compromised, then the hormonal balance goes awry. And as a result, this can lead to inflammatory conditions like endometriosis or polycystic ovarian syndrome or other hormonal complications as a result of tight junction or leaky gut syndrome. The next is because foreign proteins and particles are going into the bloodstream that should not be going in. Once again, we've got those guards who are tired, and an autoimmune response can result. That means the body really is attacking itself. And this could cause any number of conditions, be it joint problems, be it migraines, be it skin conditions, as we'll see shortly. So the third problem that leaky gut syndrome can cause is an autoimmune response. The fourth, as I mentioned briefly, is skin conditions, acne, eczema, and various kinds of psoriasis could well be exacerbated or triggered as a result of leaky gut syndrome, simply because the foreign particles that should not be going into the bloodstream are happening, and the skin is one of the first places to feel that. And then the second last one, fifth one, is joint pain. I have a lot of patients coming to me, even young folks coming to me with knee pain or back pain, neck pain, elbow and wrist pain. And it's not as if they have a major disease going on, but they've got a leaky gut, foreign proteins and particles are going to the bloodstream, and the body is mounting an immune response, and it's showing up as a joint problem. And then lastly, food allergies, chemical sensitivities, etc., and food sensitivities. Also, because the gut lining has been disrupted, the foreign particles are going in, and people are not able to tolerate the foods that they're always used to eat and tolerate with no problem, because the gut lining has been inflamed and irritated. So if there's an increase in allergies or food sensitivities, one of the first things to look at is the gut. So now we've looked at what is leaky gut, understand it, it's really to do with these tight junctions and what can happen to the body as a result, those 6 main areas that can become symptomatic if there's a leaky gut. Really, the next area to look at is what are possible causes? What can contribute to those guards not doing their job properly, so those tight junctions become loose or weak? And these, I'm going to give you the 7 most common reasons for leaky gut. It's not an exhaustive list, but it does cover the main ones that I see in my practice. The first one is excessive alcohol, and possibly even caffeine to those who are caffeine sensitive. Caffeine is acidic and could bother their microbiome, specifically if a person's having more than 1 cup a day. So that's excess alcohol and caffeine. The second one is high stress. Stress that's going on for quite a while that hasn't been well managed stimulates cortisol, and cortisol disrupts the gut lining, the gut barrier. So that's a direct connection between stress. It's one of the reasons I'm starting my Mind Body Mondays with some sort of de-stressing protocol, strategy, meditation, breathing, because it's so important in fast-tracking healing and health in the body. The next is obviously celiac disease or gluten sensitivity or dairy sensitivity, and people are sort of having gluten or having dairy where they shouldn't. This will absolutely inflame the gut further and weaken those tight junctions. The next area, the fourth possible cause is medications. Certain medications weaken the gut lining and specifically the tight junctions. And those are long-term use of antibiotics, steroids, Tylenol, ibuprofen, and other painkillers, antibiotics as well. And these damage the gut lining and weaken the tight junctions. Now, I mentioned to you in the beginning that leaky gut syndrome is not a diagnosis, but it's really describing an environment that has resulted in a breach of the gut wall permeability. So you begin to see that conventional medicine treats this, may treat it with steroids, with antacids, protein pump inhibitors, and people are on long-term painkillers or multiple use of antibiotics. These are standard treatments for leaky gut if it's gone quite extreme, and these are the same medications that will compromise the tight junctions in the gut wall even more. So it's really the wrong protocol completely. Functional medicine, and shortly I'm going to share with you the 5R formula to heal leaky gut, but functional medicine has a whole different grasp and understanding the root cause of leaky gut as you're beginning to learn yourself and how to bring around healing and restoration. So the fifth possible cause of leaky gut is a dysbiosis. That's an imbalance between a healthy bacteria and the unhealthy bacteria. And then number 6, a possible cause is poor sleep, lack of the quantity and the quality of sleep. Just like in the analogy with these guards who are supposed to guard the airport or the gate to the plane, they are overtired and there's a lapse in their vigilance. So too, that if a person is tired, that will affect directly the gut and affect directly the tight junctions, cause them to be weak, and over the long term, that could create a hyperpermeability situation. And then lastly, the 7th cause of leaky gut is refined oils. I discussed this last week. Processed oils like canola oil, soybean oil, or any oils that have been heated or refined. These will inflame the gut and compromise the leaky gut, the tight junctions. Another piece of information, a lot of people are moving toward becoming more health conscious, and instead of using sugar, they're using a lot of artificial sweeteners, low calorific sweeteners like Splenda, Sweet Low, Equal. Research has shown that these disrupt the microbiome, and with the microbiome being disrupted, it will domino onto creating a compromise in the tight junctions, causing leaky gut. So the best answer is really to train ourselves to do less and not need as much sweetener in whatever we're using, or go back to the good old natural. So very often I get patients coming to see me who have a very thick medical file. They've been literally from pillar to post, from one gastro specialist to the next for ultrasounds, for scans, for blood tests, to really try and pull together a complex array of symptoms, sometimes thyroid, sometimes joint pain, with some major digestive distress as well. And this investigative process could go on for weeks and months and still no help. In the meantime, they prescribed a slew of the various medications I mentioned that are actually compromising the gut first. But in functional medicine, we have a whole different approach based on understanding these 7 causes. I just mentioned that not long ago, a 32-year-old woman came to see me who had terrible acne and joint pains, and she had IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. And she was one of these patients, had been to various doctors, had no joy, got symptoms actually got worse over the time she was, going from pillar to post, trying to get a clear diagnosis. Anyway, when I took a case history when she was a little girl, she had severe middle ear infection, repeated infections, and she was given many antibiotics, at least more than 6 or 8 courses of antibiotics over a year. And that, I feel, compromised her gut, affected her liver. And as a result of that, her tight junctions were compromised, the microbiome was compromised as a result of all the antibiotic use. It led to the leaky gut syndrome, which again caused the joint problem and the acne. Once I took her through my 5R process of healing the leaky gut, her skin really cleared up about 85–90%. She had some scarring, and that was there before she came, but it was significantly better. She had much more confidence, and she was able to really go out again without having to put layers and layers of makeup on her face. Her gut was about 90% healed, and her joint pain had gone completely. This was about a 6-month treatment of going through the 5R protocol, which I'm going to share with you now. So this is a very simple, elegant protocol that is built on the fact that there's nothing wrong with the gut intrinsically, directly, meaning it didn't start there. It started with these 7 factors: not getting the adequate sleep, and the medications, and the diet, and the stress, and all of these factors I've discussed with you, eventually over time, bombarding the gut, disturbing the microbiome, and causing a rupture in the tight junction. So just before I share with you the 5R protocol, how does a person go about diagnosing the fact that they have leaky gut? Because many different conditions could mimic it, right? A person could have an independent joint problem, or they may have migraines from another cause, they may have skin problems from another cause. So it's not so easy to just label this is leaky gut and this is the cause of all your problems. Very often it is. However, let's look at some sort of tests. My motto when it comes to testing is take the guesswork out and do the testing. Because once you do testing, 2 things happen. You can get the diagnosis clear, and equally as important, as you take the patient through the healing protocol, then you can redo the tests and see the results will be different on a lab test as well, lab test results. And as a result, the patient will be able to monitor and track their progress over time. So in conventional medicine, there are a couple of tests. The one is really a mannitol and lactulose test, even though there are opinions in Western medicine that it's not super reliable, it's still used and it is a helpful test. Then there is something that's irrefutable and very, very helpful. This is something I practice, is either a blood or a stool test using a substance called zonulin. Zonulin is actually a protein that modulates the permeability of tight junctions between the walls of the digestive tract. So when you do a stool test for the zonulin levels, you'll really be able to get a real working diagnosis if this is leaky gut or not. There are other blood tests, by the way, that sort of you can deduce leaky gut, and that's if there's a high histamine or low DAO, which is another item that could be point in this directions. And looking for various immune activation in the body or antibodies for intestinal cells. Then this particular test called calprotectin is not so much it's not really a leaky gut test, but it's really helps with decision making about IBD, inflammatory bowel disease. But it will give you a sense if there's inflammation in the bowel, the tight junctions are absolutely affected. And as a result of that, you can work back and restore the gut lining, restore the tight junctions to their normal health, and redo the test 3 or 6 months later and see that there's a very significant improvement in calprotectin or zonulin or the other items. So let's go back and look at what are the 5 R's. In the meantime, let's sit up in our chairs, take a nice deep breath in. And if you've got some water, there's a good time to hydrate. And if you're watching a replay, go ahead and you can leave some comments. And if you're here on the live, you can still ask your questions in the chat. And I want to share with you the 5R protocol. The 5R protocol is the order of the day to repair leaky gut. And I just want to make it really, really clear. The gut lining is one of the fastest cells in the body that turn over the quickest. Every 47 days, the entire gut lining is being sloughed off and eliminated. Now, this works for us and works against us. It works for us because when you actually come to take positive intervention using the 5R protocol to heal the gut, you'll get relatively quick results, even though it may take anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks. Sometimes in chronic case 6 months, and sometimes if a person is more senior and it's a long history of leaky gut or gut issues, it may take a little bit longer. But because the gut lining changes so quickly, that means healing is available very, very quickly. So it's important that you leave here knowing that leaky gut is curable. Once you follow the protocol, you do the testing, and you do a proper follow-up. And people who are suffering, by and large, they're suffering needlessly, and that's one of the reasons I've stepped up to commit to facilitating the Mind Body Mondays, because I want to empower people with the knowledge and skills and insights to be able to really, by and large, heal themselves or go and get the help that they need. So let's jump into the 5 R's. The first one is remove. The second is repair. The third is restore. The fourth is repopulate. And the last is relax. So that's again, remove, repair, restore, repopulate, and relax. So let's look at these quickly together, and then we're going to wrap up. So remove. The first one is really eliminating from your diet and your lifestyle those factors that are getting in the way of causing gut inflammation or high stress. So it could be alcohol, coffee, processed foods, refined oils, artificial sweeteners, and everybody needs to work at their own pace in their own rate. The second in remove could really be working with your healthcare practitioner to, if you're on any long-term medication, especially if there are non-steroid anti-inflammatories, aspirin, ibuprofen, things like that, antibiotics, protein pump inhibitors, antacids, these will affect the tight junctions. So work with your healthcare provider to really find a way to bring these medications down as you bring your healing up. Stress is also part of the remove. So we learned together the harmony breathing. We added the color element today. So this is something that will down-regulate cortisol in your body and take the stress off the gut and help to heal the digestive system through that way. And in remove, the last one is really infections. If there are any gut infections, bacteria, parasites, pathogens, etc., in the gut that are irritating gut lining, that has to be removed and dealt with. So that's the R. Let's look at the second R of restore. Restore is really about restoring what is lacking. In my clinic, I practice hair mineral analysis, where we take a teaspoon's worth of hair from the head, we send it off to a lab, and we get a full report of all the minerals in the body. There is no blood test that will give you a full mineral profile. A hair mineral analysis does this, and I can see if a patient has any excess minerals that are causing an imbalance, or equally as important, a deficiency that's causing an imbalance, and then we can restore, replace those things, those elements. It also looks for toxic elements like heavy metals, like mercury or lead or cadmium, which can cause inflammation in the gut and impact the tight junctions. So under restore, it's restoring the proper minerals, the proper enzymes, etc., restoring the proper foods, the specific foods that will help heal the gut lining, and specific foods that will damage the gut lining. The third R is really repair. So we've done the remove, we've done restore, putting back the goodies. Now we're looking at repair. The gut lining needs specific nutrients to repair itself. One of those, it's also in vogue right now, is collagen. And I've been giving my patients a very good recipe, tried and tested recipe for bone broth, which is very, very rich in collagen. Collagen helps to heal inflamed gut and heal the tight junctions. There are a number of amino acids and herbs that are very, very soothing for an inflamed gut. And this comes under the repair area to repair the inflamed gut and tight junctions. The fourth R stands for repopulate, and that is to repopulate, re-inoculate the gut with friendly bacteria. And that's really got two steps. The first step is the prebiotics. And some of you who are part of my inner circle have taken a deep dive with me this last month in how to make your own and what prebiotics are and what prebiotic-rich foods are. Just quickly, some of them are chia seeds and flax seeds and hemp seeds, and also onions and garlic, asparagus, apples, bananas, and artichokes. Some of these are very good prebiotics. And probiotic foods, those are all the cultured vegetables, not cultured and then pasteurized like store-bought kimchi or sauerkraut, but really cultured sauerkraut and yogurt or kombucha or sauerkraut. These foods are cultured pickled vegetables. These really help to re-inoculate, repopulate the gut with friendly bacteria that can live off the prebiotics. Prebiotics are those special fibers that the probiotics will live off and thrive from, that will help the microbiome. The last R stands for relax. And this is why we started off today's Mind Body Monday with the breathing. So there are 4 points under relax. The first one is really stress management. It's managing anything that tends to tip you over into a more stressful situation consistently. A little bit of stress is a good thing, but high stress too long is not a good thing. So the breathing in fours with the added element of the color that we practiced at the beginning of our session will really help that. Improving your sleep, not only the quantity of sleep you get, but the quality of your sleep is really important. That helps to soothe the gut through the vagus nerve and down-regulate the cortisol, which is an inflammatory effect on the tight junctions. Appropriate exercise. I'm a big fan of walking. Just 20 minutes of walking a day does wonders for the mind and the body. So whatever exercise you do, it needs to be appropriate for your unique situation. And then the last aspect of relax for the R is relationships. Relationships are so important for our journey through this world. And if there are any relationships that are strained consistently, I really invite everybody to work to make amends wherever possible. Or if they're not strained, but they could be a little bit closer or more love and care and compassion, then the invitation then is to work to making that relationship even more sacred and even more special. So those are the 4 points of relax. Again, stress management, improving sleep, appropriate exercise, and improving relationships. So that's my 5R protocol for addressing leaky gut syndrome. Now you can begin to understand why the current medical model is really struggling to put it all together, because this 5R really covers the whole gamut of life experience. You're looking at many different aspects, the mental, emotional parts, the gut biology itself, and lifestyle issues as well. And I just want to end with a question that some of my patients ask me is, how long does it take to heal leaky gut? And I mentioned before, because the small intestine cells, the endothelial cells, turn over so rapidly, that will work to our advantage once you introduce the 5Rs, because they'll be able to kick in very quickly. I've had patients within a couple of weeks feeling a lot better, 46 weeks significant improvement, and anywhere to 46 months total remission. Obviously, the longer a person has been suffering, the more advanced and infiltrated the immune system is with the leaky gut as a result of foreign proteins going through, and the older they are, the more time it will take. But this is a tried and tested pathway and protocol, and one needs to be patient, and the healing is around the corner. So last week I ended with a challenge. The challenge was to drink more water, half to an ounce of water per pound of body weight. I'm just curious, did anybody remember to do that? Go ahead, type in the chat or the comments. Did you remember to do your challenge of drinking more water? Because I'm going to end today with another challenge. This challenge today is, I'm going to take one of the R's, which is the last one, which is rest and relax, my favorite one. And I'm going to invite you all to explore how to take one of those points in relax further, either to practice the breathing, the harmony breath, or to improve the quality of your sleep, or to do some more exercise, or to improve the quality of your relationships. Just choose one relationship and focus on that for the next week. So the challenge again is to take the last R from our 5R protocol to heal leaky gut and focus on how you can improve your stress, improve your sleep, do some more exercise, and lastly, strengthen a relationship. So I just want to remind you all, if you are on Facebook and you haven't yet joined our Facebook private community, I invite you still to do that. It's a wonderful opportunity to do that. You can always send me an email in the support, and I can send you a link to sign up, because in the Facebook group, we're going to make the replays available. And if you don't have Facebook, don't worry. I'm going to be posting the replays on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I invite you to do that, because I'm going to be sharing these replays and the videos and meditations and other resources. Thank you once again for joining me on Mind Body Monday. I can't wait to see you next week, and looking forward to connect. Well done, and thank you.